Welcome to the Cozy Convos podcast. I am your host, Elijah. You guys, I am so excited. We are back with episode 15. And honey, today, I just feel like this has been coming up for me more and more mentally. Just how I feel there is a new dawn approaching and what that's going to look like in the sense of love. Honey, that used to be a big factor surrounding Elijah's name, I feel like. So I just kind of wanted to give you guys a little insight as to the change that has occurred within me. Today, we are going to be talking all about how dating myself has cured my broken heart.
Let's have a conversation and make it cozy. Let's dive into the unknown so we can continue growing. It won't always feel so comfortable letting go of limited beliefs. But we know we have big dreams and goals, so we're committed even when truth gets heavy. Let's have a conversation and make it cozy. Let's address the hard things and still make it feel so cozy. Let's embrace our flaws so we can feel even more cozy. This safe space won't make you feel anything other than cozy.
In this day and age, I think that it's important we tackle the issue of self-love. Before taking this journey, when I thought about the word self-love, I normally thought about like bubble baths, spa days, shopping sprees, those kinds of things, which is a big part of it that we love, mind you. But I recognize that that wasn't the totality of what self-love actually is. And I feel like this is something that we often miss. Because I feel like eventually in everybody's journey, they want to do better, they want to grow. But oftentimes I feel like the actual tools aren't being provided for us to understand the fundamentals of how self-love can actually change our lives. Getting out of my superficial understanding of self-love, I realized that it was more than just girl quotes and affirmations. Like, you know, girl, the aesthetic that you see sometimes. And taking a step back from the image, the superficiality of the way that I viewed self-love, that switch had a huge impact on me. Starting my healing journey a few years back led me to go deep within myself, and that has been the key to me resolving my trauma. But before we really get into it, I just want to mention something. You guys often see on my other channel, I've been, taking my solo dates around the city, spending time with Elijah, doing things for me, These moments that I share with you all is because I want to express the increased joy and this feeling of finally being able to free my inner child. But at the same time, I really want you guys to understand what's really behind what seems like simple fun. It took me a while to get to a place where I could really be present and not harbor any negative emotions, negative thoughts, negative feelings because of the things that I went through. I grew up in a household that did take a lot from me. I've experienced several types of abuse that no child should have to go through. I grew up around a lot of projection, a lot of pain, a lot of passed down trauma. Looking back, I see that old family and friends couldn't give me what they couldn't give themselves, which are things like honesty, vulnerability, strength. All they gave me was their brokenness, and for most people, that's where the story ends. Imagine, I want y'all to, let's picture it, honey, because I feel like metaphors and taking actual things to try to make it a better image in our heads is what's going to help us understand the weight of what a lot of us are carrying. Imagine living majority of your life in a cage you didn't put yourself in, but now it's your responsibility to break free. And you just got here, honey. You don't know what's going on. You're a child, you're a baby. Honey, you're stepping into a war zone that you did not sign up for. Or maybe you did, girl, your soul, before your soul came to this realm and decided that this is what you're gonna take on. Anyways, and baby, the cage ain't light. That motherfucker is heavy, baby. Do you hear me? It takes years. For me, I know it took years, honey, to pick the lock and build up the courage to finally face the shit I'd rather have never thought about again. I'm expressing this to you all because I want to highlight the weight of ancestral trauma, and I feel like we underestimate it. The trauma we are carrying is collective. It isn't in just our immediate family. That's why I say everything is spiritual, baby, whether you would like to admit it or not. It's a lot of the same deceptive behavior in different groups of people, and it makes up majority of society, and it's very, very sad. Think about the thousands, millions actually, right? Because the world is old, centuries and centuries old. Girl, don't get me, that's not my sector. But think about all of the people, as old as the world is, all of the people that came before our great grandparents. And honey, I could go on and on and on, and there would still be a lot of people coming after that great. And it is my opinion that these things build up over time. Or is it a fact? I don't know. Saying. Every time the cycle is repeated and passed down to the next generation, that shit gets deeper, it gets heavier, it gets more weighty, more exhausting, darker, more deceptive. Honey, it doesn't just stay this cute little seed, honey. It grows, it spreads, it infects, honey. It takes over. And each child coming after has to either live a life of misery because they never choose or know how to recover, or you have those that are conscious about it, that are healing from it, but it's still an uphill battle. And this is by no means me excusing any of the behavior, saying that it's not on each individual person that committed, the deceptive acts. Because at the end of the day, right is right and wrong is wrong. It should be a conscious decision, a conscious effort not to hurt or mistreat children. And if you feel like you just cannot take it, or that you feel like you have to let whatever you're having within you out on a child that is innocent and did not have to be here, baby, that's when you get help. You don't let that shit just fester and build up and try to act like it's not there and try to, baby, get help. That's my thing. And I know, especially in the Black community, honey, we like to bury things. We like to sweep things under the rug. We don't like to address things, girl. But honey, when innocent lives are getting ruined by the trauma a lot of our, older generations refuse to face, that's when we have to take a step back and think about what are the changes that actually need to be implemented. Like what could they have actually done to prevent this being passed down to me so that I can do it so I don't pass it down to my kids? Does that make sense, girl? Sorry, I'm just a little passionate about this topic, if you will. Bless it, Lord. No matter what you're going through as an adult, because I know life is rough, I know it's fucked up, I know things happen, that shouldn't be taken out on a child that didn't ask for love to be made in your sexcapade. Now it's time to get past the physical. It is a reality, honey. When you take the spiritual journey, you start to see things from a broader perspective. A lot of our families, or ex-families, honey, have entity attachments. Addictions we've unknowingly picked up that has led to poverty, stagnation, and a lot of other dark, deceptive things. Whether it be the lust they pass down, the aggressive behavior, the deep insecurities, it's bigger than one family relationship. There is a collective entity that has been using most of our families as a host to carry out its deceptive plan, its deceptive mission, whatever, the low lives would like to classify it as. I don't know. It's an energy, a very, very dark spirit, and everything fed to us in this economy is a tool to capitalize on our pain so that we are too lost in the maze to see where the real issue lies in our own lives and the lives of those around us. When I first moved out here, girl, in 2023, I started intensively journeying while crying, girl. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what led me to journaling. I just felt this strong calling, this strong push. So girl, I'm journaling, I'm scribbling, I'm scraping up the page, honey. I'm cursing, I'm, going off on people, girl, that I'm saying stuff that I really wish I could say to people that I can't say, girl, y'all know how it is, honey. So honey, I'm giving these pages the business, baby. But in the midst of that, I got so lost in my anger and my venting that I couldn't see at first that the solutions were coming from the very words I am writing on this page. And through those moments, I really did awaken to the audacity of so many of these people, thinking that they were going to rewrite my story for me and kill me off early. And from this realization, baby, from this heavy, deep, profound realization, I felt this rage that led to something else. Once I got out of those angry, distorted emotions, I was able to really sit back and think, and I reached this conclusion. Yeah, I'm out here with no support and no help. Yes, I don't know what the fuck is going to happen tomorrow. I don't know how I'm going to get from here, plan A, to plan B. But no matter what, I was going to hold on till the last wheel fell off. But I was going to find a way, honey. I'm not going to lie. I was going to find a way. Because it gets to a point, like, you start to notice all of these things. You start to know all of these things. And you're like, okay, yes, this is the lowest. Okay, it can't get any lower than this. But would I rather stay here, stick it out, see what happens, pray, try, put in the effort, try to do something, try to make something happen in this new city for myself? Or would I rather just go back to my abusers? So, it just kind of like both of them are kind of fucked up. Like when you're in the beginning phase of trying to switch between, what path you're going to go down. Am I going to try to, come up out of this, or am I going to just, wallow in my misery? So, honey, I ended up choosing the first one because, baby, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for anybody to do that. But, your comfort zone and everything that is back there. So it's a tug of war. It can sometimes be hard. So I'm just thinking to myself, yes, it's hard. No, I don't deserve it. But I refuse to let rock bottom be my final story, I'm gonna fight and I'm gonna do everything that it takes to survive. I'm going to hold out. I'm going to endure. I'm gonna trust that God has a plan, girl. At one point, I didn't realize that me journaling was my most powerful act. Well, the realization that came from, all of those journaling sessions. Choosing to say, yeah, that was the most fucked up shit you could have ever done to a person. But your actions won't trick me into believing some distorted version of myself and that I don't deserve the life that I do deserve. Just because you treated me bad, and you treated me bad because you didn't want me to get the life that I... Come on. What I'm sharing with you all in this video is reflected moments of stillness, because at one point, stillness was all I had. Those were the quietest and most peaceful times. I learned how to regulate my nervous system and really find those positive moments. And it was because I was finally away from all of the noise. And I started to receive clarity from spirit in a variety of different ways. My girls who get me, my girls who know, my girls that are tapped in, I'm talking to you. Communication came through dreams, through downloads. And through that consistent connection, the cold hard truths gradually reveal themselves. Like I said, once you actually dig deep and you really think about this stuff, you get to a point where it's like, okay, there's no way I can go back to that. So I just have to have faith and endure this hill I am now climbing. timing. And with that, there were so many things that I couldn't control, so I decided that it was time to focus on what I could. The library was free, and I've always loved books. That started to become a form of escapism for me, whether it was like a spiritual-based book where I'm just learning about, some more spirituality things, or whether it was just, a fiction book, something that was like a movie but just in words. These fantastical stories I was reading, these meaningful messages I was receiving, they balanced out something within me that I did not have the words for. I started to roam and take the train to different places, finding little spots overlooking the water, and I would just sit there for a couple hours and just be grateful, listen to music. And I know you may be saying, grateful for what, baby? Grateful that I'm alive, that I made it to New York safely, girl, that I'm up here, that I have this beautiful view in front of me, that I have this moment right now. I don't know what else is happening outside of this, but I know I have this right now, this beautiful view. You know what I'm saying? It gets that deep and that meaningful. It was one small act of self-love after the other, one foot in front of the other, baby. I started treating myself in the only ways that I could because I realized that this is where my happiness is actually rooted in. The journaling, the reading, the stillness outdoors. It was building something within me that I could not yet see. Finding little ways of appreciating what I had led me to a different level of gratitude, a deeper level, if you will, that has taken me so far and has kept me grounded in my worst moments. Doing these little things were helping to pour into myself. I didn't know at the time I was unlocking the true self-love that is not often broadcasted, as deep as it truly goes, in my opinion. So I was moving around for like a year and some change, just really trying to figure this life shit out, baby. And honey, I still am, let that be clear. But honey, this is when I was fresh in New York a few years ago, baby. I was fresh. Didn't know anything about the subway. I didn't know where nothing was. I didn't know where I was gonna stay that night, baby. I planned absolutely nothing. I just hopped I hopped on a bus, the next bus when my car broke down back in North Carolina. I hopped on the next bus to New York. I said, I gotta get out of here. I don't know what moved me, what did. I said, I have to go. I can't. I did absolutely no research. I just said, I've always wanted to live in New York, so let me just go to New York. Do y'all understand how impulsive I was? I'm trying to take y'all through the processing of my decision making, because there actually was no processing and was no decision making. But I just still said, fuck it, let's find out, honey. There's nothing left for me here, honey, so let's see what this can do. Girl, the kahunas it took to actually order that ticket and get on that bus and ride out to this city, honey, because it was not easy whatsoever. And of course, in the middle of me picking up my little hobbies, I was communicating everything with you all. Probably a little too much, girl, And still making videos here and there. And I want to express to you all the way that making music made me feel when I first started making music and sharing it with you all. It felt like the biggest weight was off of my chest. It became a way for me to express my sadness and my anger. It was like the excitement of finding something new, like, oh girl, I like this genre, I like these words, I like how I sound. Like, it's just this kind of new thing that you're experimenting with. It's new, it's funky, it's fresh, it's cute, it's different. And the more I continued to pour into this, the more God continued to show me that I was on the right path and that I just could keep going. There was no way I was holding all of that pain, all of that betrayal on my own. So much controversy surrounded my name at one point in time, and I felt the weight of that. I felt the weight of being the only person in the world in Elijah's corner. Like, I felt like I had literally no one, and the people that I did think I had, Spirit showed me clarity that they actually were not for me. So girl, it was a lot. But yeah, girl, it felt like it was me against the world, and I still have those moments of feeling like that sometimes. But back then, before I had certain levels of awareness, girl, it made no sense. It felt very heavy. It felt very dark. Like, I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but I am glad I found spirituality, because if I didn't find that deeper connection, I probably would not be. Do you know what I mean? So that's my girl. I give God the glory, honey. I give it up, because ain't no way, honey. So instead of going off or selling out or doing something tragic, I got used to going within. I got used to taking out my emotions through art. Music is emotional, it's sensitive, it's vulnerable. It became less about making something that sounded good and more about something that feels more aligned with what I am experiencing in this present moment, the emotions I'm carrying, the experiences I'm having, how I see things. And it can sound cliche at first, but once I finished working on something and I looked back at it, I examined myself and what was going through my head, and I felt instantly lighter. I felt a little stronger, if you will. Like, I didn't know if I could make it all the way, but I could make it to tomorrow, bit by bit, honey. That's how I had to think. Now, these conclusions, it sounds positive, it sounds uplifting and everything like that, which it is. But those words aren't always easy to hear, especially when you're going through something that seems like, is out of your control, that you shouldn't be experiencing. There were a lot of moments where the knowledge and the answers that I came to understand weren't always perfect and logical in my head for this moment that I'm going through right now. Honey, I had a lot of meltdowns, a lot of moments where I wanted to give God the finger. Yes, baby. Like, I wanted to say F all of this spiritual ish several times. More so in the beginning. But what got me is the grace that Spirit continued to show. It's like your loved one holding you even as you're crying and throwing a temper tantrum and, trying to hit them while they're holding you, cradling you in their arms. That feeling helped me to understand that my anger was understood. It was felt not just by me, but by the beings who were guiding me and watching over me. Just after I would cry my eyes out and have a breakdown, I would have an instant, sudden moment of stillness that just kind of came out of nowhere, and I felt it throughout my body. I'm like, girl, like I just bawled my eyes out. Why do I feel kind of like everything's gonna be okay all of a sudden? Or there would be like a little blessing that crossed my path just when I needed it. The universal love that I was shown during my most heartbreaking season has kept me committed to this path and was a contributing factor of helping me learn what love actually feels like. Come on, self-love, universal love, how it all coincides, baby. I'm feeling that connection with the earth and all of the elements that, we can't see, and I'm allowing that to carry me into this new chapter. It sounds whimsical and magical because it is. Not too much, girl. I may have not felt that love from physical people, but I felt the presence of an unseen realm assisting me and helping me through my worst chapter. For a majority of my life, the pain I felt was too heavy for me to bear, so I clinged to escapisms that at the time I didn't realize were really toxic. But I feel like Spirit has stripped me bare throughout my whole experience of moving out, so that I could finally see myself with no illusions. I could see myself in its entirety, to really become aware of the person that my trauma created. This realization taught me to build a life, to cultivate an energy that I don't feel I need to escape from. A lot of us only indulge in things because we are running away from unresolved emotions. The loneliness, the fear, the mental traps we have that we don't know are there. The more I consistently cried and stopped running from the pain and really felt it, that the healing path became a more beneficial path to follow even when it was misunderstood. And, still sometimes can be. But pouring into myself reminded me of who the fuck I am and who God said I was, baby. There has been a lot of pain on this journey, but it has helped provide a lot of clarity. Examining myself, looking at myself, I realize I am not this monster that deserves to be mistreated. I don't deserve breadcrumbs. I don't deserve the bare minimum. I don't deserve any of that. And why is that a problem for us to admit to ourselves? Why is that a problem for somebody to carry themselves like what they know they deserve? Just because past people needed me to see myself that way so they could feel better about their emotional struggles does not make that artificially orchestrated identity true. When you analyze the very things that you are afraid to deal with, it sheds off so many layers and so much baggage. Because honey, it's all unnecessary weight given to you that you were never meant to carry. And I've had to disassociate and I've had to detach like tremendously because there was such a meticulously orchestrated, especially with me being a gay feminine man, baby. There was just this image, this betrayal, this narrative that was being pushed onto me and trying to surround my name and make me out to be this person that, honey, I was only operating that way because I was hurt, I was broken. You just start to realize how you were manipulated and, girl, just all of these crazy things, girl. Really tried to get me to think that I deserve, a hellish sort of life. This led me to acknowledge who Elijah actually is. He's not helpless, he's not sinful, he's not unlucky, he's not perverted, he's not any of these labels that people have tried so hard desperately to make stick when it comes to my name. And not just me, people like us in general, girl, the femboys, girl, the trans girls, all the studs, honey, girl, the community, the LGBTQs and the pluses, honey. Acknowledging my worth gave me not just hope, but this like almost delusional certainty of where my life is headed. It no longer became if, it became when. Come on. I started to really examine and break down my moral compass, thinking about how, yes, I have made mistakes, but they never came from an intentional place. And I've learned from those things and I've applied those lessons. And I make it my mission not to go out of my way to, hurt innocent people. If somebody triggers me, I go within and I learn about, okay, what is that person doing that is causing me to feel negative emotions? What are they reflecting back to me that I need to work through so that I'm not taking it out on them or taking it out on somebody else later, And why shouldn't I expect something good to happen after this disaster? Girl, pouring into myself just led me to think more positive, more elevated. It just kept me going in the right direction mentally. So all of those negative thoughts that people were trying to send to me, all of that negative energy that was trying to, cloud my judgment, honey, it started to get weeded out more and more and more the more I continued to pour and pour and pour. Like, girl, let me pull myself together, girl. Keep it pushing, do what I gotta do to get by, honey. That's the kind of power, that's the kind of mindset self-love has provided me. The ability to trust my own intuition instead of trusting the words of other people who will never truly understand the depths of my beauty, the beauty that I carry and embody. At that point, yes, I needed guidance to keep going. And I still do, of course. But there's different chapters in life that presents different circumstances. But that guidance is what pushes me to keep going even when no physical evidence can be found right now. Honey, faith, baby, faith. Girl, it's been a constant act of me battling shit that most people don't even realize exists. On top of being 22 in New York City, baby, with just me and my dog, me and my Mellow who's sleeping, snoring a lot too, and tripling a bit. Girl, like there's so much like pitted up against, like systematically, like so much pitted up again, and spiritually. Girl, it's all of it. But like, girl, just me embracing my authenticity. Not that it's like hard, girl, like I am who I am and I'm not backing down. But like, girl, you'll be surprised at how much existing outside of the norm will just kind of like spark things and cause conflict, and you ain't doing nothing but just being a little gay. Well, not a little, not a little, honey. Not a little, girl. I think this is very extreme, honey. This ain't really butch. What's a little essence? What would y'all call, off topic, what would y'all classify it as? Y'all feel like I'm a little more butch queen or like more femboy? Or like a little bit? Because I feel like I'm like a femme tomboy. Like I feel like I give butch essence, but mostly like femme, you know? Or I don't know, y'all let me know. What do I give? But yeah, taking all of the weight of everything that I've dealt with, that I deal with, and putting it into my creations has been my most highest form of self-love. Self-love has gotten me to a point of security that even scares me sometimes. Because I did not used to be this person, baby. I used to be so bothered by what everybody thought, girl, trying to keep up with the rat race, honey. What everybody thought of my journey and the words that I'm speaking. But at the end of the day, nobody knows the bullshit I had to go through. Nobody's able to walk in my shoes but me. So fuck the naysayers, baby. The first one that needs to believe in you, the first person, that needs to believe in you is you. It's not your mom, it's not your dad, it's not your friends. And it sucks, but most of us will be doing this shit alone, especially in the beginning. Because if we have the guts to detach from a whole deceptive system, honey, and we're one person, because like as a child, like you want those words, you need those words of affirmations from your loved ones, like to know that you're valued, to know that you're talented, to know that it's safe to, pursue your passions, those kinds of things. Like those types of things should be encouraged, not put down to fit into the traditions of what society is supposed to be, what we've been told, work, get a job, like those kinds of stuff. Like oh girl, it's very deep rooted, girl. Got people by the balls, honey. Jesus. But like you just have to see how everything trickles down, how everything systematic has, affected you through your immediate, bloodline, honey. So that you can understand the bigger scope of things, and so that you can have a different level of motivation, a different level of clarity, a different level of understanding of why it's important that you continue to pursue this. So if you are talented and you love what you're doing, that should be more than enough. It's a gradual progression of seeing yourself through the lens of what you are truly capable of. But with each step I took, my confidence continued to grow. Like I said, some of you guys may have found this podcast from my other channel and may have seen when I was still doing content, girl, before I got my apartment, all those kinds of things. I was actually like putting in effort with these things, and I'm starting to see the evidence. And the evidence was me. I started to see like me for me. And it is not a crime. Oh my gosh, this world will try to make you feel so bad about yourself. It is not a crime to think highly of yourself. It is not bad to compliment yourself. It is not bad to acknowledge how gifted you are. People want you to play yourself small all the time. Like, no, like when I look at myself, I want to see a talented individual. I want to see somebody that motivates me, somebody that's beautiful, somebody that takes care of themselves, somebody that, like I'm going to be inspired by me. The goal should be always to strive for the best version of yourself. And I feel like when others don't get there, or when others don't put in the work to get there, they don't do the inner work, honey. They take it out on you. So when you block out their energy and you start seeing the truth, I started seeing how good my content actually was, how much I actually love my music, how I love my sound and the things that I'm creating for myself first. That was the puzzle piece I already needed, honey, and that's how I've been able to cope with the change and the transition and all of that, girl, because I don't care. I like how this makes Elijah feel. That's all that matters at the end of the day, my life. Self-love is a little bit stingy, it's a little bit selfish. It doesn't compromise. It doesn't lower, to make others comfortable. That's what it needs to be, darling. It's about pursuing your passion. It's about executing ideas that feel exciting. It's about recognizing who you are past your physical vessel. You'll get to a place where anything affiliated with doubt or fear has no room to linger around you anymore, because you finally remembered who the fuck you are and then some. Come on. A lot of people need to realize that ganging up on someone or bullying somebody doesn't always make the person run and shrink. It sometimes pushes people to stand taller, because they know the only reason you consistently attack and try to take out an innocent person is because they are a direct threat to your little kingdom of deception. Hello, clock it. Self-love is multidimensional. It varies. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. Sometimes self-love is me crying and venting. Sometimes self-love is me having the best time of my life. Sometimes it's about being honest about my tears instead of trying to stop them. Sometimes it's about moving my body, shaking my butt, and getting out the house, girl. Balance, baby, balance, equilibrium. Now, we love the highs, but we do also have to sit with the lows, baby. Sometimes you do have to really just take those moments of stillness and sit with yourself and allow your body to feel it. Like, picture it as a sickness you've had all your life and you found the cure to it. But the cure isn't immediate. The cure isn't just, a one and done type of thing. The cure is consistent treatment. You have to continue to go in and get treated and get tested and, but eventually all of it is leading you to getting better. So girl, just allow yourself to be that vulnerable little child that has been through more storms than rainbows. And working on myself this deeply has kept me away from the notion that I need a man, girl, to come in and save me. Not always in a physical sense, but in an emotional sense as well. Honey, I genuinely used to think that a relationship would solve all of my problems, girl. I used to think that it was going to be the end all, the be all. I thought that that was going to be the thing that was going to complete me and make my life full. So yeah, girl, as a late teenager all the way up until moving to New York, I was very male-centered, baby. And we know so much goes into the girls and the gays, girl, when it comes to us seeking Male validation, baby. We are under a white capitalist patriarchy, honey. So of course that has affected every single minority, every group, every diverse person that exists on this earth. Girl, the system has tried to take away diversity so much to keep us all these one functioning, systematic robots just doing what we're told or believing what we're fed. And because of this, most of our family, our exes did their best to fuck us up, girl. I'm just thinking about adding that layer of being feminine and of being queer, honey, openly since middle school. My love life was either always a spectacle or a fantasy, both inward and outward. It's hard because, like sometimes, I used to, back in my little schoolboy days, honey, I used to get like, approached and talked to and everything like that, but it wasn't to the same degree as like, my female friends. And not to, put us in the category of women, but just, you have that connection. You feel it with somebody and you can recognize what's in them that's also in you, and that connection is trying to, girl, I'm trying to break it down, honey. But like, girl, I feel like all of especially my feminine gay boys, girl, we always have that one experience where it's getting there, it's happening, but then something holds the person back, they stop giving to it because, society, it's just a lot. So sometimes, yes, it may have been obvious, but it always felt like it was up to me to like weed out the signs or like, make the moves or make it clear about like intentions and things like that. And it just gets to a place where like, that's kind of exhausting. I kind of don't feel like doing that, especially like when you get older, girl. It's just kind of like, girl, being all boy crazy and revolving my mind around all of this, trying to decode and, baby, no. Just simply no. I'm an adult now. But that's just, that's how I thought, girl, back when I was a teenager, girl, and I had time. I just used to always think like, is he being polite? Is he flirting, girl? And it just used to be everything for me. But I share this with you all because so much tension in the home was surrounding me being different. So all I ever wanted was for someone to make me feel like I was at home. It's not a crime. It's not something to feel guilty about. It's not something to hate yourself for. It's something we all deserve and that it's our birthright, Now, of course, I couldn't comprehend things this deeply back then. But now I see the place of pain that I used to operate from. And unlearning those ways has changed the way I think or talk about myself. I now hold myself accountable, but I do it with grace. And it's crazy, girl, like what happens the more you start to like focus on yourself and you become less attached to like, relationships and, just needing to always like be talking to someone or needing to be interacting with somebody like romantically, And I'm not trying to be shady, but girl, like, those people that's always in, relationships and stuff. I used to be that kind of person where I will always want to be in something. I will always need to talk to somebody or be, getting attention, giving attention, girl. But now like my inner world is changing, the world is changing in context to how things happen now versus how they used to happen when I was a little schoolboy. And I feel like this is where like I want to speak to my community, like all of us, but especially my community, girl. I want us to understand that we need to take our self-love serious because the world is changing and things are going to start becoming more equal. It's not going to be one of those things where, well, girl, let me not try to predict everything, but you may find that once you're like more aligned within your own energy and you're more comfortable in your solitude and stuff like that, and girl, you're going out and everything like that, sometimes, not often, they will flock a little bit more. It's like what they say when you're chasing something or you're trying to look for something and you never find it, but when you stop looking for it, it starts to, find and chase you. Yeah, honey. And that just sheds a whole new layer because I'm just understanding that certain things are going to start becoming, it's going to actually be getting back. So I want to say new. Things are going to be, is going to be a new ways, changes happening. But the changes that are happening is going to be the original way that they already were before corruption and all these other things to like try to interfere with our true nature. Y'all understand? I'm kind of speaking in I don't want to say tongues. I'm speaking in riddles almost, just a little bit. I just feel like us queer men, honey, the first sign of physical attraction or intense eye contact, girl, by the trade or by maybe like a DL guy or, a bi guy, like whoever, we need to be pouring into ourselves so that the bare minimum is not our ceiling. Does that make sense? We don't need the bare minimum to be our standard. And trust me, I know it's easier said than done, honey, because, they look good. They can be fine and attractive, girl, and you just wanna. But for me especially, I've just gotten to a place where I need a lot more than that. When you've been through a lot and you know what heartbreak and betrayal feels like, you're not gonna allow another pretty face to sell you dreams and whisper sweet nothings, honey, because I now know my worth and I know that I deserve more than the bare minimum. And I feel like my bare minimum is I always just used to want to be approached the same way, women were. Or if not even, okay, let me not even compare it to women. If somebody is just attracted to me, if somebody feels like they like me, whatever variation they may be, I always just wanted them to approach me, and normally it would be in a certain category. It just used to mean everything to me to just, be approached and ask for my number, just like a regular person. But now that's not the thing that I'm impressed by, or that's not the thing that makes me like just want to like, give in. Just because like you find me attractive and you ask for my number and I'm a gay boy, so I should feel like, more value because you accept me for me. Like, do y'all understand like what I'm trying to say and like what's intertwined with everything? It's always been the standard of us being the secret, of us being hidden. So now that that's changing more and more and more, I'm seeing it. We should be open, but I think that we should expect, more fulfillment internally from the person that we are engaging with. That's it, that's all. And in a world, y'all, full of insecure people, don't be afraid to think highly of yourself, especially when it comes to people that are trying to maybe approach you, that are trying to get your attention, your time, platonic and romantic. Because most people think standards means looks, finances, and that does play a part. I mean, to a certain degree, girl. But for me, I know it's about the level of peace you add to my life. How can you expand my perception and awareness of the world? What can you teach me? How can you help me become a more intelligent individual, a more compassionate individual? Just how can you help me become a better person? What are the types of experiences that you can provide me that will increase my happiness and not decrease it? Because trust, honey, I've had some fine ones in the past, but looks is where it stopped. And self-love has taught me that looks aren't everything, and that spared me and saved me in a lot of moments where all the pretty face is all it was. So for my girls, my gays, and my guys, let's remember that dumping all of our baggage onto somebody else is not the answer. If we do want to have those healthy, stable relationships in the future, then we're going to have to work hard to become the type of person who can hold that type of special connection or special union. Because a lot of us, I feel like we want that now, but we still have things we need to work through so that we are able to be a healthy person in a healthy relationship, not a toxic person in a toxic relationship, honey. I'm just saying. And for me, that means self-care, self-love, giving myself the experiences that I would expect somebody else to give me. Experiencing moments of joy by myself before expecting somebody else to make that for me. You know what I mean? Like, honey, I'm not waiting for somebody to come in and make my life more fun. I'm going to do what I can now with what I have to be as present as possible and as joyful as possible, okay? There is so much to learn on this journey, girl. We're constantly fed things in the media where lust, misogyny, homophobia, and so many other things continues to try and make us feel like we are less than and devalued, especially, the gays. And you'll meet people who will try to reinforce those same ideals onto you. That is why it is important to know yourself so intimately so that the outer world cannot disrupt your journey, because trust, honey, these mad hoes will definitely, wholeheartedly try. And I feel like as children who have never been seen, heard, loved, it's not talked about how hard it is to go a day without, craving validation or seeking some sort of intimacy or seeking some sort of interaction with someone. But don't beat yourself up when you recognize that this is in you. When I first had to juggle and tackle all of the truths about like what my trauma has created within me, the types of habits and things that I cling to and go after, it was gut-wrenching. It was heartbreaking. It tore me to pieces because I'm like, wow, I have to actually become a better version of myself, all because they didn't want to. So when all of that comes up and you feel the weight of all of that trauma trying to, press down on you and get you to go back down into that little shell, honey, that you already crawled out of, just spend time doing something you love alone and be as present as you possibly can in that experience, honey. Turn off your phone, put on some music, like just whatever that looks like for you. Clear your mind and escape in a way that feels natural. And for me, honey, one of my go-tos has been, girl, skating, girl. Y'all saw I went to Brooklyn Bridge in my vlog on my other channel, honey, and I was skating there, honey. I skate all over the girl. The dawn is out and about in the city doing what I do best, girl. Enjoying myself. I've been all over it, girl. The girl is always in the city. Sounds so cute when I say it like that. But yeah, girl, that's just one of my go-tos, honey. I just bump some music, honey. I move my body a little bit and just raise my vibration. And remember, girl, everything is going to be okay. Apologies for the background noise. We are in New York. It's a lot going on. So, ciao. Now, I made this video not to dismiss the impact that healthy relationships can have on you. I'm just saying I don't think that should be what we put on this high pedestal that we have put it on. Like, everything almost everything either revolves around lust or love or, connection with somebody else. And I just feel like the world is more than that, There's things to learn about yourself. There's things to do that doesn't involve talking to someone or being in a connection with somebody. And self-love has just really helped me realize all of these things and has helped me to become comfortable and patient in my journey when it comes to connecting with my soul family, my chosen family, So I just wanted to share my experience to let you guys know that it is not a myth and that you can be happy without a relationship. Honey, date yourself, treat yourself, and you may find that you have more feelings for you than you did for him. Come on. And with that being said, honey, we are going to wrap up Cozy Convos episode 15, honey. How dating myself cured my broken heart. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, girl. Comment down below your thoughts, your feelings, your motivations, whatever you would like to share that you feel. I would love to hear from you guys. I had so much fun doing this episode. Sorry if it was a little bit lengthy, honey. I just felt very passionately about this issue, honey, and I felt like I really wanted to exude all of that passion to you all. I'm sending you so much love, light, and positive energy your way. Don't forget to subscribe to my other channel. The link will be in the description. And I will see you guys in the next one, okay? Kisses, hugs, and many, many, many blessings.